Since Captain Ibrahim Traoré took power, Burkina Faso has rewritten its gold story, raking in a whopping $18 billion from its national gold mines. Compared to the meager $1 billion a year it used to receive from foreign corporations, that's just crumbs from its own table. This isn't just economics, this is liberation. We're witnessing a powerful decolonization, reclaiming resources, sovereignty, and pride. No more middlemen, no more imperial legacies. In the new picture, Russia's role emerges as a strong partner in Africa, but not a colonizer. So where is Burkina Faso headed with Ibrahim Traoré in charge? And with Russia's involvement, how will France react? Swallow your anger or strike back. Welcome to the Leader Files, where historical transformations are recorded.
Burkina Faso is undergoing a historic transformation.
The figure of $18 billion did not fall from the sky. It was the result of a quiet but decisive revolution. It began in September 2022, when Captain Ibrahim Traoré led a coup against the pro-French government, ending decades of dependence. Since then, Burkina Faso has ceased to be a golden kitchen for foreign corporations to cook, and has begun to master its own resources. In less than 3 years, total revenue from the gold industry has reached $18 billion, an astonishing leap for a country once considered the desperate pit of West Africa. For decades, Burkina Faso has been known as a poor, unstable country dependent on international aid. But behind that curtain is the truth. This is one of the most resource-rich countries in the region, with at least 17 major gold mines recognized. The Esken, Houde, Tapaco, and Kiaka mines all have high gold content and long-term reserves. A large gold mine alone is enough to lift a country out of poverty. So, why are the people of Burkina Faso still left empty-handed? The answer lies in the neo-colonial mining model. Between 2005 and 2021, the Burkina Faso mining market was in the hands of large corporations from France, La Mancha, Areva, Canada, Iam Gold, Semifo, the UK, Acacia Mining, and multinationals based in Australia and Switzerland. They controlled up to 90% of gold mining and exports. In return, the Burkina Faso government received only a small portion of taxes. According to the ITE 2021 Transparency Report, only about 13% of the value of gold mined was retained in the country. To put it simply, if a gold mine makes a profit of $1 billion, $870 million will go to a foreign corporation, leaving Burkina Faso with only $130 million. And most of that money continues to be lost due to revenue losses, and public debt. In a specific example, the Esken mine, operated by the Canadian company, Iam Gold, produced more than 2.6 million ounces of gold over 6 years, 2014 to 2020, worth more than $3.5 billion. However, the total amount that Burkina Faso earned from this mine was only about $450 million, including all taxes, fees, and social support, less than 13% of the total real value. Not only losing money, the people of Burkina Faso also have to suffer serious environmental pollution due to open pit mining. Cyanide chemicals seep into the soil, drinking water is poisoned, agriculture is destroyed, and livelihoods are suffocated. According to a report by the International Human Rights Organization, FIDH, 2020, communities around the Tapaco and Houda gold mines have reported high rates of cancer, skin diseases, and birth defects, while mining companies deny responsibility. Worse, gold mine areas often become areas of armed unrest as terrorist groups, rebels, or mercenaries vie for control, creating a spiral of violence that continues. In the chaos, foreign corporations continue to mine, transport gold out of the country, even protected by local security forces in their pay. All of this creates a perfect model of mineral colonization. Resources are legally looted, governments are bribed with short-term benefits, and people are left in poverty and disease. Since Ibrahim Traoré came to power, the government has radically shifted its focus, viewing gold and mineral resources as strategic national assets rather than as commodities to be bargained with capitalists. Traoré has aggressively renegotiated mining contracts, pressed foreign companies to share profits more equitably, initiated a plan to partially nationalize the mines, and deployed the army to protect the region from interference from rebels and mercenaries. Not stopping at gold, the Ibrahim Traoré government has also expanded its strategy to manganese, zinc, copper, and phosphate. From 2023, the country will start building its first medium-sized ore smelter, laying the foundation for the dream of localizing the mineral industry. This is an important step to escape the model of selling raw materials and importing finished products, which has kept Africa poor for the past half-century. In parallel, the Ministry of Industry of Burkina Faso has signed agreements with Russian and Middle Eastern partners to train engineers and transfer rare metal separation technology, serving the goal of producing components for the renewable energy and electronics industries. In a surprising twist, in 2024, Burkina Faso announced its first locally branded electric vehicle assembly line, the Litamba EV, produced in Ouagadougou with technical support from Malian and Russian experts. The car uses lithium batteries mined in the Bongo region, an area once controlled by armed groups but liberated by the army in 2023. This is a symbol of a new Burkina Faso, not only mining resources but also creating value. This event marked an important shift from a dependent economic model to sovereign industrial development, something that European powers had prevented at all costs. Under Ibrahim Traoré, agriculture was also given a new focus. The government's Land is Gold program allowed the redistribution of thousands of hectares of land to young farmers along with aid for seeds, fertilizers, and light mechanization. Cultivated area increased by more than 22% in just 2 years. Domestic grain production increased by 17%, reducing dependence on imports from France and Belgium. In addition, Burkina Faso also started investing in solar energy with support from Russia and the UAE to provide electricity for new industrial zones built around mineral mines and assembly plants. In this context, Russia's role emerged as a quiet but steadfast partner. Without building military bases, without forcing the signing of FTAs, Russia provided support in mine security, training in mining techniques, and transferring metallurgical technology. Most importantly, Russia did not demand a percentage of resources, but promoted the autonomy of its partners, something that Burkina Faso had never enjoyed in its relations with Western powers. Thanks to the strong security wall backed by Russia, dozens of mines once occupied by armed groups are now operating again, creating thousands of jobs and expanding infrastructure in remote areas. On the other hand, the rise of Burkina Faso is not just a national story. It is a silent but profound declaration of war. Sent to the entire post-realist order that Europe built up during the 20th century, when a small country in West Africa that was once among the poorest in the world suddenly rose up to reclaim its resources to produce electric cars. Expelling French soldiers and collaborating with Russia, the former rulers could not sit still.
Tear off the mask of deceit.
France's reaction came as no surprise. For more than 60 years, Paris has never lost an African colony easily. From Mali, Niger, to Burkina Faso, when the governments of these countries turned their backs on Paris, demanding the withdrawal of French troops and the end of military relations, the French elite saw it as a geopolitical nightmare. Because West Africa is a strategic reserve, uranium in Niger for French nuclear power, gold in Burkina Faso that backs the euro, cocoa and gas from the Ivory Coast, France cannot let go because its entire post-colonial economy depends on the chain of profits from the Black Continent. They use the CFA franc to control the currencies of more than 14 countries. They force countries to sign bilateral military agreements, allowing French troops to be stationed permanently. They demand that 50% of foreign exchange reserves be deposited in the Banque de France. And they maintain soft power with the moralizing slogan, Francophonie. The rise of Burkina Faso, along with Mali and Niger, is a direct blow to that neo-colonial structure. And when Russia enters the game as a protector, no bases, no trade agreements, no percentage of resources, Paris knows it has a real opponent. Every gold mine reclaimed, every kilometer of new railway opened, every tram rolling across African soil, every step forward in Burkina Faso is a slap in the face to the remaining hegemonic illusion of post-colonial France. And if this chain of dominoes spreads to Côte d'Ivoire, Senegal, Congo, then France's seat in the G7 will be shaken like never before. Because the irony is that modern France is not a superpower because of innovation, but because it is standing on someone else's treasure. If it loses Africa, it will lose itself.